Hi, my name is Monica Castellanos, and I will be analyzing two different scenes from two different versions of Shakespeare's A Winter's Tale. I will first start off by analyzing Act 3, Scene 2 from the 1999 Antony version. The objective of the actress in this version, playing Hermione, is to express how much pain the character is in when she discovers that her son Mamillus has passed. As Hermione, the actress cannot run to anyone in distress because she is being held prisoner by her own husband for accusing her of having an affair with Polixenes. Leontes, her husband, has absolutely no remorse for her. After hearing about the news of her son's death, Leontes yells out Apollo is angry, which adds to the commotion and distracts people from Hermione's suffering.
The prince, your son, with mere conceit and fear of the queen's speed, is gone. How gone? Is dead. Apollo's angry, and the heavens themselves do strike at my injustice.
As a result of the actress's actions, the character Hermione is left to process her emotions after hearing of her son's passing on her own. She then helplessly topples to the ground because she is so overwhelmed by the news. Stunned people rush to her support, but only when she collapses, and this is after Leontes exclaims that Apollo is angry with him. The effect of Hermione in this scene having no friendship alliance is that the actress needs to emphasize the character's loneliness in the current situation by dramatizing how she has no one to comfort her under the authority of her own husband, who is prisoner to his own delusions. The blocking in this scene is that the actress playing Hermione is apart from everyone else in the scene and stands alone to the side.
Your son, with mere conceit and fear of the queen's speed, is gone. How gone? Is dead.
The psychophysical actions that the actress playing Hermione expresses are clasping her hands together, having a facial expression that communicates that she wants to be alleviated of the pain. She opens her mouth to cry, but no sound comes out after hearing about the news of her son's passing. The actress playing Hermione also kneels to the ground when she hears about her son's death and collapses unconscious.
The prince, your son, with mere conceit and fear of the queen's speed, is gone. How gone? Is dead.
In Shelley Taylor's book, The Tending Instinct, there is a study with two orphanages. One orphanage is run under the management of Fräulein Schwarz, who is cold and uncaring, and the other one is managed by Fräulein Weiss, who is praising and attentive to the children. Those under the management of Fräulein Schwarz do not completely physically develop healthily at the age to the standards of their age. Those who are under the management of Fräulein Weiss, however, are healthier than those of the children under the management of Fräulein Schwarz. This study correlates with what happens in this past scene because it is clearly visible that Hermione is falling apart since she is not receiving any affection from her loved ones all of a sudden. I will also be analyzing the same scene from the 2018 New Swan Shakespeare Festival version. The objective of the actress playing Hermione in this version of the play is to show that the character has the support of others in her situation. Just like in the other play, Hermione does not have any remorse from her husband. This is especially indicated shortly before the news about Mamillus's death is declared, which is shown in the next clip. The women in this version of the play are not hesitant to support Hermione, whereas in the other play, women only rush to Hermione's assistance after she has collapsed on the ground.
Summon truth! I might work themselves. Sit down. There is no truth at all in the oracle. The session shall proceed. This is mere falsehood.
People immediately rush to Hermione's side when she slowly kneels to the floor weeping after the news about her son's death is declared. In Antony Sher's version of the play, people listen to Leontes exclaim that Apollo is angry before assisting Hermione, but in this version, the women around her rush to her support while Leontes makes his statement about Apollo.
He is gone. How gone? Is dead. Apollo's angry.
In this version of the play, it is more evident that the character Hermione has friendship alliances. Women tend to gravitate towards other women in need. Hermione does not struggle on her own in this version of the play and in this scene with the help of the women around her. The quantity of people rushing to her support proves how many of the other people sympathize for her in this situation. The actress's blocking in this version of the play is huddling close with the other women in the scene. Women fly to her like a magnet almost immediately after the news is revealed, and Hermione lets out a yell of pain. Women stay huddled with her as they move, and Hermione moves with them.
This one!
My lord, the king! The king!
What's the business?
Oh, sir, I shall be hated to report it. The prince, your son, with mere conceit and fear of the queen's speed, is gone.
How gone?
Is dead.
Apollo's angry, and the heavens themselves do strike at my injustice. How now there?
This news is mortal to the queen. Look down and see what death is doing.
Her heart is but a charge. She must recover. I have too much believed mine own suspicion. I beseech you, tenderly apply to her some remedies for life. Apollo, pardon my great profaneness against thine oracle. How reconcile me to Polixenes? New woo my queen. Recall the good Camilla, whom I proclaim a woman of truth. How she glisters through my rust, and how her piety.
The psychophysical actions of the actress playing Hermione is leaning forward and crouching down and weeping. In relation to Shelley Taylor's concepts mentioned in her book The Tending Instinct, we can draw from the same orphanage situation as mentioned in the other slide regarding the other version of the play. Similarly, Mamillus's passing, because he was so young and suddenly not receiving any sort of affection from his parents, relates to the orphanage situation. Now I will be analyzing Act 5, Scene 3 of the 1999 Antony Sher version of the play. The objective of the actress playing the character Paulina is to make sure that the character Leontes continues to feel guilty about his betrayal to his family, both his son and his wife. She wants to keep him away from Hermione's statue or frozen body. The obstacles of the actress playing Paulina is that Perdita, the lost daughter who finally reunites with her father, tries to get closer to the statue of Hermione. Leontes also tries to kiss the statue.
If I thought the sight of
must have done. The very life seems warm upon her lip. The fixture of her eye has motion in it. As we are mocked with art,
Draw the curtain. My lord is so far transported, you'll think on it lives.
oh, sweet Paulina, make me to think so. 20 years together. No settled senses of the world can match the pleasure of that madness. Let it alone.
I am sorry, sir, I thus far stirred you, but I could afflict you further.
Do, Paulina, for this affliction has a taste as sweet as any cordial comfort. Still, methinks there is an air comes from her. What fine chisel could ever yet cut bread? Let no man mock me, for I will kiss her.
The ruddiness of her...
The outcome of the actress playing Paulina, the outcome of the actress's actions is that Paulina determines whether or not Leontes feels guilty enough. Coincidentally, when she does, and calls upon Hermione, the statue comes to life.
'Tis time. Descend. Bestow no more. Approach. Strike all that look upon with marvel. Come. I'll fill your grave up. Stir. Nay, come away. Bequeath to death your numbness, for from him dear life redeems you.
The effect of the presence and lack of friendship alliance in this scene is that Paulina can easily keep Leontes away from the statue because she's not friends with him and doesn't sympathize for him as much. Paulina sympathizes for Perdita more because she is not guilty for anything like Leontes is, and she only recently discovers that her long-lost mother was deceased. The blocking this scene that the actress portrays is standing closer to Perdita when Perdita is admiring the statue of Hermione. Paulina does not stand very close to Leontes or as close to Leontes to physically comfort him like the men around him do when he is admiring the statue. When Perdita approaches the statue, Paulina stops her from getting any closer but doesn't stand between the two. Instead, she stands by Perdita's side. However, when Leontes approaches the statue and tries to kiss it, she physically holds him back.
Dear Queen, it ended when I but began. Give me that hand of yours to kiss.
Oh, patience. The statue is but newly fixed. The colors not dry.
My lords, your sorrow was too sore laid on, which 16 winters could not blow away, so many summers dry. Scarce any joy did ever so long live. No sorrow but killed it so much sooner.
Dear my brother, let him that was the cause of this have power to take off so much grief from you, as he will be someday himself.
My lord, if I had thought the sight of my poor image would thus have brought you, for the stone is mine, I would not have showed it.
Do not draw the curtain.
No longer should you gaze on it, lest your fancy may think that on it moves.
Let me. See, my lord, would you not deem it breathed? And that those veins did verily bear blood?
Must have done. The very life seems warm upon her lip.
The fixture of her eye has motion in it. As we are mocked with art,
Draw the curtain. My lord is so far transported, you'll think on it lives.
oh, sweet Paulina, make me to think so. 20 years together. No settled senses of the world can match the pleasure of that madness. Let it alone.
I am sorry, sir, I thus far stirred you, but I could afflict you further.
Do, Paulina, for this affliction has a taste as sweet as any cordial comfort. Still, methinks there is an air comes from her. What fine chisel could ever yet
The psychophysical actions of the actress playing Paulina is holding her hands in front of Leontes after he tries to kiss the statue of Hermione, signaling him to be patient. When she holds her hands in front of him, Leontes keeps his arms crossed.
I am content to look on, what to speak I am content to hear, for 'tis as easy to make as speak as move.
It is required you do awake your faith. Then all stand still.
In relation to concepts mentioned in Shelley Taylor's book, The Tending Instinct, women have less of a fear of comforting their female peers through physical contact. This is shown when Paulina holds Perdita's hands when she calls to Hermione and tries to touch the statue of her mother. Now I will be analyzing the same scene, Act 5, Scene 3, from the 2018 New Swan Shakespeare Festival version of the play. The objective of the actor playing Paulina in this version of the play is wanting Leontes to continue wallowing in his guilt for a little while longer, convincing Leontes to wallow in his guilt for a little while longer. The obstacles of the actress playing Paulina is Perdita getting closer to the statue of Hermione, which could distract Leontes from his guilt. Leontes also tries to kiss the statue, which could lead him to feel more infatuated than guilty.
Ancient superstition that I kneel and then implore her blessing. Lady, dear feet that ended when I began, give me that hand of yours to kiss. Oh, patience, the statue's but newly fixed, the color's not dry. My lord, your sorrow is too sorely gone, which 16 winters cannot blow away. So many summers dry, scarce any joy ever so long ago. No sorrow, but guilt of much.
Dear my brother, him that was the cause of this, have power to take off so much grief from you as he will peace up in himself.
Indeed, my lord, if I had thought the sight of my poor image would thus have brought you, the stone is mine, I never should.
Do not draw the curtain.
No longer shall you gaze on it, lest your fancy may think anon of fools.
Let be, let be. What was he that did thank it? See, my lord, would you not deem it brave to let those veins verily bear blood? Is that silly done? The very life seems warm upon her lip.
I shall draw the curtain. My lord's almost so far transported that he'll think anon it lives.
Sweet Paulina, no settled senses of the world can match the pleasure of that madness. Let it alone.
I am sorry, sir, that I have thus far stirred you. But I could afflict you farther.
Do, Paulina. This affliction hath a taste as sweet as any cordial comfort. Let no man mock me, for I will kiss her.
Oh, good my lord, forbear.
The outcome of the actress playing Paulina's actions is calling for Hermione to come to life, once Leontes is deserving of witnessing her live again.
'Tis time. Descend, be stone no more. Approach. Strike all that look upon with marvel. Come. I'll fill your brain up. Stir. Nay, come away. Bequeath your death to numbness.
The effects of having a friendship alliance in this situation is Paulina physically consoles Perdita but does not do the same for Leontes. Paulina did not completely forgive Leontes and wants him to continue feeling guilty until she deems it fit to call for Hermione to come back to life. The blocking in this scene, portrayed by Paulina, is allowing Leontes to get close to the statue of Hermione. When Leontes fell to the ground, Paulina did not comfort him, but she also didn't stand as close between him and the statue as Paulina did in the other version of the play. Paulina stands closer to the statue and farther away from Leontes when he tries to kiss it in the comparison to the same scene from the other version. In this version of the play, Paulina is not the one to physically hold Leontes back when he tries to kiss the statue.
Let no man mock me, for I will kiss her.
Oh, good my lord, forbear.
The psychological actions of the actress playing Paulina is standing by the side of the statue and placing one hand on Perdita's arm. Then she gets closer and keeps one hand on Perdita's back and uses the other hand to hold Perdita's hand. When speaking with Leontes, Paulina almost positions her whole body towards him. She keeps her hand closer to her body when speaking with Leontes, bringing them to her chest, holding them, keeping them by her sides, and then raising them to the sides of her face.
She's but newly fixed, the color's not dry. My lord, your sorrow is too sore laid on, which 16 winters cannot blow away. So many summers dry, scarce any joy ever so long lived. No sorrow, but guilt itself watches them.
Dear my brother, him that was the cause of this, have power to take off so much grief from you as he will peace up in himself.
Indeed, my lord, if I had thought the sight of my poor image would thus have brought you, the stone is mine, I never should.
Do not draw the curtain.
No longer shall you gaze on it, lest your fancy may think it honor.
Let be, let be. What was he that did make it? See, my lord, would you not deem it breathed, and that those veins, verily, their blood, is masterly done? The very life seems warm upon her lip.
You shall draw the curtain. My lord's almost so far transported that he'll think anon it lives.
Sweet liar, no settled senses of the world can match the pleasure of that madness. Let it alone.
I am sorry, sir, that I have thus far stirred you. But I could afflict you farther.
In relation to the concepts in Shelley Taylor's book, The Tending Instinct, men tend to hold back from being as physically close with their male peers in comparison to that of women. When men are physical with their peers, it's typically because they are trying to make a statement. In this version of the play, men were pushing back Leontes to get him further away from the statue. Thank you for viewing my presentation, and here's my works cited.